Hi, my name is Abby, and welcome to my camera. I am doing a rant and paint series where I rant about a random topic while I paint. So thank you so much for being here, and I am very excited to get into today's topic. I am going to be talking about how you don't have to make yourself miserable to create art. Because I feel like there's a really big misconception about channeling our pain into our artwork. And my opinion is coming from my own personal experiences in life, and so you may have a completely different take to what I'm about to say. And I would love to hear what your opinion is in the comments, whether or not you agree or disagree with me. I would love to have a discourse about it. So, with that being said, let's get into this. So, basically, in the art world, there's this stereotype of the starving artist, and they're starving and they're miserable and they're in so much pain, but their pain allows them to create just like this dark and beautiful, amazing work. And while yes, I do think that it's good to channel your pain into your artwork and what you're doing, you don't need to cause yourself pain in order to have good work. So that's mainly what I'm going to be talking about. Because, it's one thing to have experienced something in life, like maybe a chronic illness, the loss of a loved one, heartbreak, whatever it is, and you're miserable as a result of that event. And channeling those feelings into your artwork is such a good way to cope with those feelings, and I actually believe that's a really healthy way to deal with your problems, because I've definitely dealt with some things like that before. Like, I've used that as a method to deal with things before, and it is very helpful. But what you don't need to do is cause yourself misery in the sake of art's name. You just don't need to do that. And so examples of misery are not sleeping for hours and days on end because you're trying to create something. The other thing is just keeping yourself in this just like poor mentality of like, if I'm not miserable, then my art won't be great. And I feel like I have definitely met people like that, where they're like, oh, well, if I, don't do anything else but make art, then I'm just gonna suck at making art. And so I don't have the time to sleep or eat properly or exercise because I just need to spend my entire life doing my art. Which I get to some extent, putting your all into your craft and really trying to improve your craft. I can understand wanting to do that. But when you stop taking care of yourself as a result, your brain is going to malfunction. You're going to get burnt out. You're going to get art block. You're going to suffer for that choice. And you're going to suffer because you're not taking care of your body and brain, and you're literally making yourself miserable. Because what? You want to improve your art, and it's like, okay, now you're being counterintuitive whenever you do that. Because now you're not sleeping, you're not eating properly, you're not moving your body. So your health is going to suffer and your brain is going to suffer, because your brain needs proper fuel, it needs blood flow, it needs all of these things in order to stay healthy. And whenever you neglect that, your art is going to suffer because you're not going to be able to think properly. You're not going to be able to look at your art in an objective manner and critique it well. And so you're not going to be able to change things. You're not going to be able to come up with new ideas to create because you're not taking care of your brain. And one thing that I've really found is when I meet somebody that brags about not sleeping and not eating and not going to the gym, is they often have people that they're surrounded by that act like that. And the perfect example of what I have for that is like when you're in high school and you have this really hard exam coming up, and then you have like the students in the room that are bragging about like, oh, I stayed up until 2 a.m. to study, and then you have somebody else that's like, well, I stayed up until 4 a.m. to study. Like, that's the kind of mentality that I'm talking about, where it just, these people have friends that are like that, and then they all just like feed off of each other's misery and negativity, because misery loves company. And so the best way, it also, I have been in this mentality before. So like, I'm talking about myself when I say this, and I'm also talking about other people that I've known while I say this. But if you are in this mentality, and look at the people that you are having in your life, like look at those people and tell me, do they also act like that? Would you act like that if they didn't act like that? Or maybe you're the reason that they started acting like that, you know? Because these, like I said, misery just loves company, and it just feeds off of each other. And it's really hard to get away from when you're surrounded by it. It's really hard to change your own mentality whenever you are just absolutely surrounded by that. And I had this kind of mentality in high school where like, if I wasn't miserable, then like I wasn't achieving something. Like I wasn't as good as everybody else if I wasn't miserable too. And that's just not the truth. Like, that is not how I live my life now. Like, when I turned 18, I went to college 14 hours away from anybody I ever knew and ever loved. And I completely changed my mentality. But I was, first of all, I was aware of this mentality that I no longer wanted to have. And then I was very intentional about the people I then chose to become friends with and have in my life, because I didn't want to become friends and have other people in my life that had this sort of, I'm not going to take care of myself because it's going to make my craft better, or it's going to make whatever I'm working towards better. And I understand, like, it's okay to stay up until midnight or 2 a.m. like every now and again. It's okay to skip the gym sometimes. Like, it's okay to like eat junk food and like drink alcohol. Like, it's okay, as long as you're not doing it all the time, as long as it doesn't become your lifestyle, and as long as you're not intentionally trying to make yourself miserable so that what you're doing can thrive. Because again, like I said, once you take care of yourself, everything else in your life is going to thrive as a result of that, because your brain is going to be functioning so much better whenever you take care of yourself. It really, really will. And that's pretty much all I have to say on this topic. I am really interested in what you guys also have to say, because I don't know, it's such an interesting concept to me that the starving, miserable artist is such a stereotype, and I feel like some of us are in such stark contrast to that. Like, some of us are very much just like free-spirited, I do what I want, I don't follow everybody else, I just do me. And then there's some of us that are so influenced by what other people are doing and trying to achieve what other people are doing. We don't stay true to ourselves, and we make ourselves miserable and like upset about trying to achieve something that's not us, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I don't know. There's a lot of different kinds of artists out there, and you don't have to be a miserable one. You can be one that finds joy in the craft and doesn't just like work your body and destroy your bones over it. Like, you don't need to sit in the same space for 10 hours a day and not move a single muscle from where you're sitting. You don't need to do that to be good. You don't. You can work 1 hour a day towards what you're doing. I mean, I'm sitting here right now and I'm probably not gonna finish this painting tonight. I probably could have finished it if I started it earlier today, but I was busy. I didn't get the chance to start it earlier today, and I'm going to get done. I'm going to get what I can get done, and then I'm just gonna have to come back to it. I don't like interrupting the flow of my painting and what I'm doing, but in all honesty, I love myself more than I love my work, and I think I am worth more than my art and what I can produce, and you should feel that way too. You know, like, you are more than just your art, you are more than just your work, you are more than your creative hobby and passion. So it's okay if things don't always turn out how you want them to in your work. It's okay to pivot and change, and it's okay to take breaks from making your art, especially if the process of creating is the thing that's making you miserable. It's okay to take a step back if it's not serving you at the moment. If you need to get into a clear state of mind, like, it is 100% okay to take a break and just know that you are still you. If you're not creating, if something happens and you're not able to create, like, that's okay. And it's also okay to just create a little bit. You don't always have to make a final product and a finished song or a finished painting or a finished crochet stuffed animal. Like, you don't always have to finish something for that to count towards your progress in what you're working on. I hope that this rant made a little bit of sense. It is a rant, so it doesn't have, I don't feel like it's come to a full conclusion, but I would love to hear your guys, like I said, I would like to hear your guys' thoughts. Hearing your guys' thoughts on the last video was so great, because some people had the same experience and opinion as me, and then some people had like a very different experience than I did, which was really cool to read about, because then that kind of like expands my mind and like my idea of what the truth could be. So yeah, I don't know. It's just really cool. And I also just want to thank you guys for following along on my journey. I have been drawing literally all year, which is crazy. I have literally never been this consistent in anything ever. And to be this consistent and have people supporting me has been really, really great. And it's been really, really fun. And I'm really excited to see where I can kind of take this. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. I will have a vlog for the person that wanted to see my vlog. I will have a vlog for you, and trust me, it's already better than my first one. So anyway, thank you for watching. This is all I was able to get done today. Definitely not a completed painting, but I will definitely show you guys the finished result once I am able to finish it. This is my little mocktail that I made for myself to have while doing this video. These were some of the more original thumbnails that I did. Also, these are my photo inspirations. For this one, these are like basically the same, but I wanted to try to change the direction of the olives to see if it would be more interesting, and I didn't like it. And then
this is just a plain black background, and then this is supposed to be like glowing lights behind the glass, and you can see that the olive is in like a different orientation in that one. And then this was just a bigger version of that, and then this one was also a bigger version of that. As you can see, that's pretty much what I ended up on. And then this was my little drawing that I did for today. I got the idea to add in like a little lipstick napkin that I thought would be fun. And then I definitely didn't end up adding like the other lipstick, like the actual lipstick to this, because I felt like that would be too much. So I just kept it simple with the napkin. And then I also did a thumbnail where I experimented with some of the colors. Here it is. So this I did experimenting with some of the colors. I don't have the right yellow to kind of get the original effect that I wanted, but I'm not going to go out and buy a new tube of paint. So I'm just going to have to work with what I've got. And so, yeah, anyway, like I said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.